Lieutenant Colonel Usman Kakanda Bello was a very loyal aide de camp to General Ibrahim Babangida, the military president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His position as aide de camp to the president was a very enviable position, as it was dangerous as well. In the event of any threat to the president, he is expected to be his first and immediate line of defense. On the fateful night of April 22, 1990, when the presidential residence at Dodan Barracks came under ferocious attack by mutinous soldiers, UK Bello gave his life in defense of his boss. While UK Bellow's bravery has been praised across the country, those who participated in the coup believe he was used as a sacrificial lamb for the president to escape. In this edition of Hispu Media, I will take you back to the night when Lieutenant Colonel UK Bello took the bullet in defense of his boss. Welcome to this edition of Hispu Media. Gabriel here. So, here is how the story goes. In the evening of Saturday, April 21st, 1990, the Inspector General of Police, Alhaji Muhammad Gambo, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Abdul Qadir Ahmed, had visited the president. They were in company of another prominent Nigerian. Babangida was known to be working long hours into the night. He was seen by those around him as a workaholic. Shortly after the guest had left, Babangida's wife, Miriam, peeped through the window and noticed unusual troop movements outside the vicinity of Dodan Barracks. She walked over to her husband, told him to switch off the television and pleaded for his urgent attention as something was happening outside. Ordinarily, there should have been no cause for alarm, as Babangida's residence at Dodan Barracks was heavily protected. But as it would turn out later, there was a breach in security and a coup was well underway. Few minutes late, at about 1:40 a.m. on Sunday, 22nd of April 1990, the seat of power and the official residence of the military president and the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces came under ferocious attack. The military president himself, 48-year-old General Ibrahim Babangida, was inside the building when the attackers launched their audacious siege. The soldiers were totally dissatisfied with his governance and seek to remove him from power. The soldiers pounded Dodan Barracks with heavy artillery shells, mortars, grenades, and all sorts of explosives. The attack was so intense that Babangida's bedroom was thoroughly destroyed by the rebellious soldiers. But in the end, Babangida was nowhere to be found. So, how did he escape? I will bring you more on that shortly. But first, how was his ADC killed and who killed him? This is where it gets tricky. There are various accounts of what actually happened on the night. First, according to Mark Sullivan in his book entitled Soldiers of Fortune, A History of Nigeria, Babangida sent his ADC Usman Kakanda Bello outside to find out what was happening. He never saw Bello alive again. After a brief radio contact with Bello, Babangida lost contact with his ADC. He was shot dead by mutinous soldiers immediately he got outside. Another account held that UK Bello was rudely awoken from sleep by the sounds of ferocious gunfire. As the ADC to the president, his residence was located opposite that of the commander-in-chief. Bello quickly sprang to his feet and immediately established contact with the CNC. As the initial gunfire continued, he went straight to check on the military president. This account went on to establish that Bello was the first person to alert the military president that it seems like a coup was underway. When the coup plotters rumbled through the gate of Dodan Barracks that morning, Babangida had sent his scout to see the extent of the force and strength the coup plotters came with. The scout found out that it was overwhelming, and then IBB escaped. So, how did he escape? The story is that in the ensuing gunfire, the terrified Babangida and his family was saved by his ADC, Colonel UK Bello. Bello literally smuggled Babangida and his family over the fence onto the open field and then to a waiting Peugeot car behind the Dodan Barracks compound. From here, he drove to a secret place in Surulere. Other accounts say Babangida escaped through a secret tunnel. Either way, it was a narrow escape for Babangida and his family. Neither Babangida nor his wife ever revealed the secret house they were hidden. The timing of the escape of Babangida and his family has been put at between 1:30 and 1:45 a.m. Once IBB was in safe hands in private home, UK Bello returned to the presidential complex to face the coup plotters and even made an attempt to crush the coup. The story claimed that as Bello went back to Dodan Barracks, he rushed to one of the armored tanks stationed in the grounds of Dodan Barracks and made an attempt to fire at the coup plotters. And that is where he met his doom. Unknown to UK Bello, the maintenance engineer who had came to check on the tanks few days before the coup had tampered with the armored tanks. As part of the coup plot, the engineer removed the armored firing pin and deactivated all the tanks. The moment Bello attempted to fire at the coup plotters, it was obvious that he was not on the side of the coup plotters. He was killed inside the tank by a volley of bullets from dissident soldiers who had surrounded the area. At about 2 a.m., the shelling of the president's residence with heavy artillery continued. The goal was to ensure that even if Babangida was not captured alive, he should be killed in the gunfire. For the coup plotters though, they had crossed the Rubicon. Meanwhile, among the coup plotters inside Dodan Barracks was Colonel Anthony Nyam, the most senior army officer involved in the coup and a friend and cosmate of UK Bello. The shelling was so intense that the plotters believed there was no way Babangida could have survived the attack. Colonel Anthony Nyam, one of the prime movers of the coup, claimed that UK Bello may have been used as a sacrificial lamb during the coup. He believed that Bello may have took up the duties of the CSO and was killed in the process. According to him, quote, "First, as I will be illustrating, it is not the duty of an Aide De Camp to get involved in the perimeter defense of the State House and was still far away from the State House grounds in the FRCN as Colonel UK Bello was compelled to do during the counterattack. If the CSO had done his duty, the ADC would not have been misled into the already joined battle without proper briefing. More than that, such counterattack should have been in the first place coordinated and led by the standby contingent presidential guard company. In our case, at that time, the standby company of the Brigade of Guards to be reinforced in the second phase concentric circle of defense by the standby guards battalion and teeth-armed support units. It is the duty of this unit to do what Colonel UK Bello was forced to undertake. From the professional point of view of those charged with the protection of the mortal life of the president and governors, those known in the US as State Security Service, it is not the duty of an ADC to be running helter-skelter some distance away from the very important personality or VIP he is supposed to be protecting, as Colonel Bello was compelled to do that fatal night. He went on to ask, has someone cowardly and cleverly used Colonel UK Bello as a covert diversionary sacrificial lamb to escape? Colonel Yam denied that his friend and cosmate was killed by him. The killing of UK Bello devastated the president because he was a devoted ADC. When the dust was settled, Babangida addressed the World Press Conference on the coup, and it was there he announced the killing of his ADC, Colonel Bello. Meanwhile, 2 days after he was killed in the failed coup attempt, UK Bello was buried at Paiko with full military honors. He was buried close to the grave of his father, Sarkin Muhammadu Bello, the traditional village head of Paiko, and Mama Dada, his grandmother. He was buried according to Islamic rite. His burial was attended by dignitaries including Lieutenant General Sani Abacha, who was the Chief of Army Staff and Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff, Rear Admiral Monitara Nyako, the Chief of Naval Staff, Air Vice Marshal Nuremi Yusuf, Chief of Air Staff, Major General Ike Nwachuku, the General Officer Commanding 1st Mechanized Infantry Division, Lieutenant Colonel Lahon Gwadabe, the Military Governor of Niger State. Federal ministers, members of different state executive councils, and the Niger State Council of Chiefs were also present during the burial. The UK Bello Cultural Center in Minna is named in his honor. The late Lieutenant Colonel UK Bello was replaced by Major Nuhu Bamali on the 22nd of August, 1990. Bamali would later grow to a rank of Major General and died in 2006 when a military plane carrying him crashed in the mountains of Benue State. For more on this cool story, please click the video displayed here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Hispo Media. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.